Hey, what's up?
Hey Shane. Oh, 1 second. Need to turn.
Kinematics. Nice kinematics equation behind you.
Oh, thank you. I was gonna actually, I had some questions about these, so I made sure to put them there so I could ask you
Yep.
some other questions, I guess, regarding how to take the MCAT exam itself.
Mhm.
Um, I was taking the practice exam today.
Uh,
Um,
what? Oh, was this the blueprint full length one or Altius full length one? Or
uh, this this was for, let me see, we're in May now. Well, I guess it was supposed to be through Blueprint. I did not get the Blueprint ones.
which one
I
did you?
wasn't sure if I was supposed to which one to purchase either. So
Yeah.
that's definitely something I can also do this week now that I have more availability. Um
So, which test did you take? Like which company?
I did like an AMC one,
Okay. Which one?
but it wasn't like the first one. It was a practice one. It
Okay.
was like it was a free one that they had
Yeah.
that they gave
That's
me
it's a
whatever.
scored. It's a scored one, right?
Yeah, it's a scored one. The only thing is I wasn't able to finish it because
Uh-huh.
I had to leave the site I was at.
Yeah.
And I thought it would autosave my answers if I just closed it out or just kind of went to the next destination. That did not happen. So I had to go back and insert all my answers again. So
Mhm.
I paused it for now. I just have the psychology section finished.
Okay.
Um
Got it. Got it. So okay. It's the AMC exam, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Uh, well, we could do two things. Either we can have you, complete that psych social section and then, count that as one of the practice tests that you take. Or you could just cancel that because you haven't submitted those other sections yet. So you don't know how, you don't know which answers are right, which answers are wrong. And if you do that, then we can save it for the end in phase three,
Okay.
right? Because phase two would be like the blueprint and or Altius tests.
Okay.
Those are the tests that are really hard. And so phase three is when you go back to the AMC tests and you should see a boost. So the AMC tests, we want to really uh they're kind of like precious in a way, like they're going to be the closest thing to the actual MCAT. Uh so that's why it's best to take them like closer to your MCAT date.
Okay.
So so I would say honestly that um yeah, you could do either of those two options um because likely if you do an AMC test before the a blueprint or Altius test, you will get you'll get score deflation. So so basically what this like how this usually works is like for blueprint or Altius, there's going to be like, let's say like 500, 503, 504, 506, 503, oops, 503, something like that. And
Hmm.
then with AAMC, you should see something like a 508, like a 510, something like that, right?
Okay. So
That's
trend.
usually, yeah, so that's usually how it works, right? So like, but I'm just afraid that if you take the AAMC first, and let's say you get like, I don't know, let's say you get like a 505, um, when you take your blueprint or Altius, it's going to seem like your score is going down, right?
I see.
So it's really up to you. Yeah, it's up to you, but I guess honestly, I guess redoing it entirely would be kind of annoying. So I think I'm going to change my opinion on that. I think that yeah, just well, also sorry. So also the fact that it wasn't like kind of, it done in like one sitting can also kind of mess up,
Yeah.
how your score is because if like now when you do the psych soc section, it's like after you've had a good amount of like time to like rest and stuff in between. So we want to mimic those testing conditions as much as possible. So I actually will say again that, yeah, I think that you should just like cancel that
Yeah,
test.
we should do.
Yeah.
Here's what I can do. I think I can go to product and okay.
Yep.
Reset test. Yep.
Yep. All right. Yeah, that's good. So awesome. Um, damn. Okay. It still kind of tells you some stuff, but it doesn't tell you what. Like
Okay.
it says 69 questions,
Don't
but
worry. I'm not worried about that.
yep.
What was more daunting was
Uh-huh.
going back and trying to put those answers back in.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So I wouldn't sit there another who knows how many hours
Yep, yep, yep.
after like the
Mm.
cars. And yeah, it was after the car section. Like I was halfway through the biology section. And I was like, I am now tired.
Yeah, yeah. So stamina is a big thing that we're going to start to work on. That's why it takes, a good amount of tests. Like you're going to be taking like a ton of tests. So you're going to get really, really good, practice.
Okay. And just wanted to confirm it'll be off the Blueprint website.
Yeah, either Blueprint or Altius. They have different deals at different times.
Okay.
Let's see.
Let's see, I assume I go to med school, MCAT, MCAT. And then okay.
So, okay, let me see here. Oh yeah, so let's see. Practice exam bundle. What?
Let's learn more.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh, okay. Okay, okay. So yeah, it seems like it's on sale. Let me check how much the Altius tests
Yeah,
are.
yeah. Well, at least I prepared myself for 7.5 hours or so
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah. So you still got, yeah. Okay, so let's see for yeah.
Oh, I appreciate you uploading those videos, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate you letting me upload the videos. Thank you for that. Geez, where can I? Okay. Okay, so the okay, we talked about, let me make sure here.
In the calendar.
Yeah, so we talked about being able to take, so it seems like Altius has a better deal here. Uh,
Okay,
I'm gonna here. So that if you could go back to that blueprint page, tab.
gotcha.
So it seems like, okay, so, you know, 6 exams for 178, 10 exams for 271. We don't really care about the AI Q bank thing over there, but that's probably making it a little bit higher. But yeah, I sent you the Altius link, which offers 10 of the exams for 199. Yeah, so yeah, if you select the 10, yeah, right there. Yeah.
Um,
And it seems like, yep, it's just 199.
yeah, yeah, that is a better deal.
Yep. Yeah,
Uh,
there's always like deals and stuff that my students sometimes mention that, you know, uh that like come up, I guess, randomly or whatever. But
okay.
it seems like this is the yeah.
Have you
The
ever thought about having like reaching out to these companies and having your own like kind of code
wait,
or
what's up?
just have you ever thought about like reaching out to like these testing companies and getting your own code so like they can go to these sites and buy
Oh,
them
like
and
a
get like
promo
a
code?
10% off or something like yeah.
Yeah, I never considered that. Maybe I can try that.
But okay, yeah. So I definitely like to learn a few testing tips today within our session.
Yep.
Um so it's like how do I make sure that I'm on track with I guess the exam itself?
Uh,
I found myself uh good on time with the physics portion, but when it came to the car section, I was definitely at least like behind a whole paragraph or not or a whole like reading section.
uh-huh. So, wait, so sorry. So you're saying like your timing is okay for CP, but for cars?
Yeah, yeah. I felt like it was just it took forever, and I felt like I definitely didn't finish all the questions in one section.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. We can go over a cars passage if you'd like. So now that you have the AMC material, um, you're going to be doing like oh yeah, and then let me just ask about the Jack Weston content diag we completed. Did we complete that?
I haven't completed one section. This week I've just got really busy with
Oh
my
yeah, yeah.
final.
Yeah, how was your final?
Oh, we're good. We're good. I passed, and now that I just have to take a state exam to get EMT certified.
Nice, nice. Awesome. Yeah. So okay, so yeah, like the content diag is the content diag, but after that I put the section bank. So what
Yeah,
we
yeah.
do is we do like either like science passage from the section bank, but we could also do cars passage, and you have a lot of good cars material here. So basically, like the um but so okay, the non-cars question packs like bio and chem and physics are useless now. They're from the old MCAT, they're not relevant. Um,
Okay.
but cars has not changed from the old MCAT. So the cars, um, question packs are definitely things that you're going to do. And there's also a cars diagnostic tool, which you will do. And then for the sciences, there's going to be this section bank,
Okay.
and that's for the sciences. And then, of course, there's these exams. So, and there's also a sample exam, but okay, yeah. So that'll be like the stuff that you'll be doing. So do you want to do a cars passage together?
Yeah, definitely. That'd be cool.
Okay.
I need I need to know how to move through these things so I can.
Yep. Yeah. So I'll
Uh,
show you. So yeah, why don't we click on one of these,
does it matter which one? You want the volume one, volume two, or the diagnostic tool?
I guess we could start with volume one.
Okay, go to product.
Okay. So what we're going to do is, and for the future, I get the Jack Weston Chrome extension because it not only gives you better answer solutions, but it lets you view everything as an MCAT format because
Okay.
this isn't really like an MCAT format, especially when you review it, right? So, but
Yeah.
okay, so this is what you do in cars. So cars is different from all other like critical reading sections of tests in that they don't ask you like retrieval questions. Like they don't ask you like what do they mention in this paragraph or whatever. Um, so what is cars about? It's all about recognizing the argument. Uh,
Okay.
so another word for argument would be like a concept or um, a belief or a claim. So all those words are things that are not facts. Like an argument isn't a fact. Like we don't know if an argument is true or not. But what you're going to be doing in cards is you're going to be pretty much trying to identify the author's like argument, and if there's any support of that argument, we do that too. So okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have you read out loud very, very slowly. And after each sentence, tell me in your own words what that sentence was saying. And also if it's a really there's gonna be lots of really verbose sentences with lots of like commas in it. So it's okay to like analyze a sentence by like the first comma up to the first comma and then like the second comma and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yep. So why don't you?
Yeah, I'll get started. So passage one, from 1890, when he was 9, Picasso's family saved virtually every scrap of paper on which he drew.
Okay.
So you want me to analyze that?
Yeah, you just yeah, put it in your own words.
Yeah, okay. It looks like his family saved every piece of work that he's done.
Yep, since he was a kid, right? All right, continue.
Harbingers of Picasso's later genius appear in fragmented and distorted aspects of form and scale, depictions garlanded by numerical and alphabetical symbols, a proliferation of trompe l'oeil, visual puns, outrageous caricatures, incongruous juxtapositions, and the like.
Okay.
So that's a lot of jargon there.
Yes. Okay, and I like that you use the word jargon here because for a lot of so like for a sentence like this, um well, we can analyze that first part, like up to the first comma. What does that say?
The first part to okay, so it's his later genius appeared.
Yeah. What do you think harbingers? Like what do you think that?
I don't know what harbingers would be, but I would say maybe his followers.
Okay. So something of Picasso's later genius, right? Appear
Right.
um appear in, and
So
so
like skills.
what's up?
Would it be like skills of Picasso's later genius appear in fragmented or distorted aspects of form?
Yeah, yeah. So with words like whenever I ask you like, okay, what do you think it means? Like, if you don't know what it means, that's okay, but you can like try, and I guess it's kind of harder to try for this word, but there's other words that I'll kind of show you
Yeah,
like
yeah.
make it easier. But that first part is kind of straightforward, but then they start to mention all this jargon, and it's good that you use that word because um in cars you're not expected to know that jargon. Like when it comes to a sentence like this for all these terms and stuff, you want to ask yourself, would the average person understand this? Like a layman, would that person understand this? And if it's no, if it's jargon, it means that it's only going to be understood by people who are like in art or artists or art historians or art whatever. So
Okay.
yeah, we won't care that much about that jargon. But
Okay.
what we do care about is that first part where it says that like so like harbingers is like kind of like signs or like early kind of representations of
Okay.
Picasso's later genius, right? Appear in, and then it says all these words, but what do you think it means appear in? Like where would it appear?
Probably in his work,
Yep, in his like early
his
when
paint.
kid, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. So they probably noticed something early in his from all the paintings they saved that
Huh?
he had something that would be able to further in the future be seen.
Yep. So okay, so I'm also going to be like highlighting stuff in different
Okay.
colors. And you don't get to do that on the test, obviously, but it's just for instruction purposes. So like would I highlight in green? Yeah, don't worry about highlighting it.
Okay.
Just because it'll like kind of mess it up. But But you'll see, like, I'll highlight arguments in green, and if there's support, I'll highlight that in orange, but you'll kind of see how it comes together. So
Okay.
so yeah, so we're basically saying that, so maybe I should say, like, so Picasso's later genius appear in his early works, right?
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
Okay. We don't know whether Picasso consciously thought back to these graphic experiments when 2 decades later, he and George Braque were inventing cubism, but at least at an unconscious level, Picasso could tap this reservoir of youthful experimentation.
Okay.
So, what I got from this was um, us as the readers and everybody else don't really know exactly when this started, but he worked with someone else, and then George Braque here, while inventing cubism,
Mhm.
uh, and he just kind of tapped into that, as they point out, as like reservoir of skill, you would say.
Yeah. So we're saying, okay, we don't know if when Picasso invented, and this is a good, what I'm about to say is a good example of, like, rephrasing it. So it's like when Picasso was making his uh cubism, or inventing cubism, we don't know if Picasso was consciously thinking of his early works when he was a child. But we could say that he was unconsciously, tapping into that youthful, like, his early kind of drawings, right?
Right.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're gonna write something like something called, like, a map, and essentially what we're gonna write is something for each paragraph, like the argument in each paragraph. So what could we say for this paragraph?
Let's see. Picasso taps into early. You said harbingers means not skill, but let's see. What could you write for this? Short? Would it have to be short? Does it have to be a sentence?
Uh
Um,
oh, no, yeah, something short.
like I would do P1. I'd place Picasso taps into unknown potential at an early age at you. Would that be something similar to what you would be doing?
Yep. Tell me what you wrote again.
I put Picasso taps into unknown potential at youth.
Yep. Yep, that's good. So uh so yeah, I just wrote P's young works show signs of later genius. And they're, yeah, both pretty much good. So okay, let's continue.
Okay, so paragraph 2 in this is the standard story told of Picasso is that his precocious talent enabled him to surpass without effort all other artists in his milieu. Or I'm not sure how to say that one, but
No?
sounds like it's a standard story told of Picasso. Seems like he was better than all his colleagues.
Why?
It looks like he was able to surpass all his colleagues or artists, or other artists. I don't know, in his milieu. I'm assuming in his youth or around his age.
So let's think about what about precocious?
Precocious, like excellent talent. I'm assuming
Anything else, like, in that?
tedious, excellent, natural born gift.
Uh-huh. Yeah. If someone's, like, precocious, they're like, well, if a kid is precocious, they're like kind of like, appear to be like an adult, I guess. Like whenever you have like a small child who's very, very like intelligent and able to like, you know, behave like an adult, like we can call that child precocious. Um, so like so here it's basically saying that his precocious talent, aka his talent when he was young, right?
Right.
Um, enabled him to surpass without effort, all the other artists. So we could say that precocious talent, you know, let him surpass the other artists without effort, right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay. I'll continue.
Hmm.
Uh, it is worth considering Picasso's own opinion that what is often considered early genius is actually the naivety of childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So in this one, they're saying that it maybe Picasso's talent was or early genius was just his childhood, like kind of like more of on his imagination, I'd assume. Like, could you say that was it really genius or was it just a child who was randomly drawing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So another thing to be aware of is who is saying what, right? So that first paragraph, we're talking about some people who are saying that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so far in the second paragraph, we're saying that this is the standard story, right? This is just like what people say, like that's generally what people say about Picasso, like that his early genius let him surpass all the other artists without effort, right?
Right.
But now we're considering Picasso's opinion, right? And Picasso's, actual opinion, like, would it be in agreement or disagreement with what's being said so far in the standard story?
Right.
Like, what would you say it would be in agreement or?
Oh, you're asking a question.
Mhm.
Sorry. So I think that I don't think he's agreeing to
Mhm.
like
Yep, yep.
everyone else is saying because it's like, if it wasn't Picasso's, I guess, first person perspective, it's like you don't really know if you're a genius. You just kind of do the things you do.
Mhm. Good. So, okay, so we can't really say yet it's against or disagreeing. Um, but we can say that it doesn't seem like he's agreeing, right? Because he's saying that what others consider early genius is just this, naivete of childhood, like, being a kid and not knowing stuff. So, okay, continue.
Okay. Quotations. It disappears at a certain age without leaving traces.
Okay.
Uh, so it says this genius disappears just spontaneously.
Hmm. Okay, continue.
Uh, it is possible that a young child who shows unusual flair will one day become an artist, but he or she, quotation, will have to begin again from the beginning. I did not have this genius. I think that's period there, yeah. Making sure I didn't skip
You can,
anything. Yeah, okay,
you
cool.
can talk about that. Um, so okay, what is this person saying?
So looks like once you lose this genius, you're gonna have to find it again and try to get back to that either level or if not somewhere in between.
Uh-huh.
Um, looks like here. Oh dang, I did keep going, didn't I? So
Oh no, you're doing it fine.
but he or she will have to begin again from beginning, as I did. So I'm not sure if this is in Picasso. If Picasso is the person I'm supposed to be in that first person perspective, but it sounds like they lost that genius at one point, had to do it all over again. and giving advice to other people that's going to happen to you too.
So now do we have a little bit more information about whether this is in agreement or disagreement with the standard story?
Yeah, this definitely sounds like it's a disagreement to like his early genius.
Yeah. Why? Like,
Uh, because well, he's saying that it it leaves everyone, and he had to go back from scratch to go figure that out.
huh? So the standard story is telling us that so in the first sentence of this paragraph, what's a word here that that we now in later on in the paragraph seem to disagree with?
His precocious talent.
Um, anything else?
Um, ask your question one more time.
So let's see. Okay, in that first sentence of this second paragraph,
Okay.
there is a word in it, or maybe it could be considered two words, but I gave it away.
That's the standard story.
I don't know. So the standard story tells us that Picasso, who had this early genius, it was able to surpass all the other artists without effort.
Okay. So this is what you're looking for, huh?
Yeah,
Without effort. Yeah.
because we're saying here that he had to begin again from the beginning,
Yeah.
right? So he has to, kind of like try, right?
Right.
Okay, continue.
Yeah. For example, my first drawings could not have been hung in a display of a child's work of a children's work.
All right. Oh, and then before that it said, I did not have this genius, right?
I'm sorry, yeah. So I did not have this genius. For example, my first drawings could not have been hung in a display of children's work.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I think it's kind of straightforward. He's just letting you know you didn't have it. What everyone else saying what was not true. In his first drawings, when I guess he was 9 or so, um, those couldn't be hung up along with, I guess, what people would consider children's work.
Yeah. Very good. I like how you brought it back to that first paragraph also. So good, 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 good.
Okay, let's see. Uh, these pictures lacked childlikeness. Uh, dot dot dot. At a youthful age, I painted in a academic way, in quite an academic way, so literally and precise that I am shocked today. So it looks like when he was a child, he's noticed that the way he's painted is not what he's painting today, and that's surprising him.
Yeah. Because his early paintings didn't look like they were drawn by children.
Yeah.
They looked like, well, we'll see a little bit more, but they were academic. So yeah, continue.
Okay. At an exhibition of children's art, Picasso once quipped, "When I was their age, I could draw like Raphael, but it has taken me a whole lifetime to learn to draw like them."
Hmm?
Sounds like, let's see.
What do you think Raphael is? Or
I'm assuming Raphael is like some type of other art figure that he may have looked up to
do
or maybe been inspired by.
you know like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what are their names?
Oh, okay. So these are actual like
Uh,
it's Michael D'Angelo,
Okay.
Raphael,
Yep, Raphael,
Angels, I believe, or something like that, right?
Leonardo,
Yeah,
Donatello. Like those are all named after those Renaissance painters.
yeah, yeah.
So So okay, so we understood that Picasso's early works did not look like they were made by a child, but that they looked academic. And what is meant by academic? Something, drawing like Raphael, right? So like this is a person who as a child could draw as well as some, like
Some expert.
yeah, exactly. So,
Okay.
but it's taken him a whole lifetime to learn to draw like a child, right?
Hmm.
So that also just uh closes the thing that was said about the standard story, which said that it was without effort because it took him his life to learn how to draw like that, to draw like a child, right?
Right.
All right, cool. So, okay, what can we say for this paragraph?
Yeah, for this paragraph, Picasso disagrees with early genius. Um, and then I guess shows support on or gives examples of why.
Mhm.
Then I guess you could just kind of highlight different examples if you wanted to, but you could always look for example. And
Mm-hmm. So, what can we say for this paragraph?
yeah, for paragraph 2, Picasso um, disagrees with early genius. Um, as it has as he has had to start over to learn how to reach such heights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me
You
try.
can definitely rephrase that all you want to.
What's up? Oh no, so I was like trying to see why my text is so big, but I finally found out how to fix that. So let me just do that.
Oh, okay, here we go.
And okay, sorry. So now tell me what you said about paragraph 2. Oh, damn it. Okay.
Picasso disagrees with genius.
Okay.
Must relearn.
So I put P disagrees with standard story of effortless genius. He drew academic like Raphael as a child, but had to learn how to draw like a child.
Okay.
So, so something that you'll see a lot in these cars passages would be something like this. You may get something like um well, actually, I'll tell you after. So, okay, so cool. So we got these two paragraphs. Now let's do that third paragraph, and after that, I'm gonna have you like screenshot, um, and then we're gonna scroll down because it'll mess up the highlights otherwise.
Yeah, gotcha. Uh, in such remarks, Picasso exalted children's productions, but also distanced his youthful self from the romantic view of artistic talent.
Okay.
So in this sentence, Picasso, I guess, loved children's work, and he placed some space between his youthful self and his romantic view of the art or the
Is it
talent.
is it his romantic view or
Or I guess from the population's romantic view.
Hmm, yep. And then when it says in such remarks, what is that referring to?
In such remarks, like maybe is it saying noted or like just a kind of like a little side piece of information.
So in such remarks is referencing the remarks made by Picasso in that previous paragraph, right?
Okay.
So yeah, you'll see a lot of like the first word or so of a lot of paragraphs would be like, that lets this happen, or this statement makes this happen, or something like a continuation like that.
Right.
But yeah, so Picasso, is praising the children's art, and is also distancing his youthful self from this romantic view of artistic talent. And that romantic view is kind of like this is like the standard story, right?
Right.
All right.
Uh, let's see. It is true that the works preserved by Picasso's family support the notion of Picasso as an aspiring academic painter, as his father was, and not as a charming knife.
All right. So okay. What are we saying here?
Yeah. Let's see. It's true that the works preserved. So it looks like the painting his family saved since he was like 9.
Hmm?
Um, support that he was great at painting, um, such as like Raphael, um, and as his father was. So this runs in the family, and not as a charming knife. So I'm assuming like he didn't just fall upon this accidentally.
Yeah, so we're now offering support for the argument that Picasso, when he was a kid, he was painting like an academic,
Right.
right? And so far we've had both of these things, like both of these ideas, but there's many different words to use to express those ideas.
Right.
And you'll see that a lot in cars. So a lot of times, I just equate certain terms like academic, I'm equating to like drawing like Raphael, like drawing like an adult, you know?
Right.
And then the opposite in the romantic view is like Picasso being able to draw like a child. But we know that that's something that he had to learn to do.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Mhm.
Uh, however, we lack drawings by Picasso from his first 8 years, and so cannot determine the resemblance of his earliest efforts to those of other children.
Okay.
So it's the however, I think is probably something that's saying we're going against from what we were just saying.
Excellent. Yeah.
Don't have any of his early works before 9.
Yeah. So yeah, I highlight that in pink. So what this is a contrast word. And what a contrast word means is whatever is before the contrast word will be different from whatever is after.
Mhm.
So there's however, there's although, there's despite, there's but, there's stuff like that, right? So
Right.
you want to have a very like kind of a special sense or whatever to look for those contrast words. In this paragraph, it's not really the most important thing, but you'll see it becoming a more important in other passages. Um, but we're essentially just saying here that we don't know. Like we could say that his works are from when he was 9 show him as an academic painter, right?
Right.
But we don't know about his paintings from before age 9, so we just can't, determine if it's childlike or academic, right?
Right.
So okay.
Okay. Let's see. Where were we? Cannot resemble. Okay. Moreover, his youthful caprices and marginalia, I hope I said that right, may have been as crucial in his artistic development as his formerly conceived early paintings. So that's another transition word, right? Moreover, like it's agreeing to whatever the however was.
Oh,
Um, let's see, his youthful caprices and is that marginalia?
mm-hmm.
May have been as crucial in his artistic development. So it's like maybe his earlier works before nine added to his genius, and that may have been able to either help the agreement or the disagreement, from what I can see at least.
Yep. So all in all, you recognize the moreover part, so it's supporting what's being said in that contrast word, however. But that's cool, It doesn't really seem to be telling us something that's too
Yeah.
important.
Okay. So my own conclusion is that Picasso's output during the first decade of his life was unusually skilled rather than frankly precocious.
Okay.
But that,
Oh, sorry.
but that- oh, uh, but that no word short of prodigy can describe him in a spectacular progress over the next several years. So precocious comes up again. Um, let's see. My
So
own conclusion. So the author's conclusion, I'm assuming, is so that's his personal opinion of Picasso.
yeah,
Um,
so one of the so the this is a rare thing to find, by the way. Most passages won't have this, but it's called author's opinion. It means that if the author is explicitly stating something like I believe this or my own conclusion is this, that is that holds a lot of weight. That's pretty much the closest that you'll get to like, the main idea here. So um yeah, so that's author's opinion, and it's very rare to find in uh passages and Cars passages in general. So it's good that we found one here. So okay, we have an author's opinion here, and what is the author's opinion? Like what is
yes. So let's see. My own conclusion of Picasso's output. So his first 10 years of life were like just unusually skilled.
Mhm.
Um, and then we use the word precocious again. Um, rather than frankly precocious. So he was just unusually skilled versus what did we say precocious meant?
What does it mean to you?
Uh when we used it in the precocious talent. So his precocious talent was dang, I can't remember what we said.
So the pre part, pre
Yeah.
could maybe help. But it's something, it's like when some
Oh,
yeah.
before
Um,
uh, before he knew about it, I think, right? Or something like that. It's like un the unconsciously tapping into that thing.
so
Um
so precocious just means that you are like, I don't want to say like wise beyond your years, but it's a
ah,
child that's it's a child that's intellectually or maybe even emotionally intelligent enough to be like an adult.
you're mature beyond your age.
Mhm.
Okay, so
So I just looked it up. So it's of the child having developed certain abilities or proclivities at an earlier age than usual, um, of behavior or ability indicative of early development. So there's also a Chrome extension called a dictionary, which works really nicely. Like if you double click on a word, it'll show you a little kind of yellow pop-up or whatever of what that word means, and it works for a lot of words like that you wouldn't expect it to work for. Um, but use don't when you do your first attempt at a Cars passage, don't use that. Like,
okay.
try your best to use context clues to figure out what these words, you know, may not necessarily mean, but would be related to at least. But
Okay.
But when you review and stuff, you can do that to learn more and more about vocab and stuff. There's even
Got
like
it.
a cars vocab like Anki deck and stuff, but okay. So yeah, so the author's own opinion is that in the first 10 years of his life, he was very skilled, but he wasn't precocious, right?
Right.
Um, but that no word short of prodigy can describe him in his spectacular progress over the next several years.
Okay. So seems that he may not have been, I guess, prematurely a genius per se, but he did have the talent to show for it the next couple of years.
Yeah, um so yeah, he was really skilled when he was a kid, but he wasn't a child genius. However, as he grew up to become an adult, right? Uh no word short of prodigy. Well, like what would prodigy mean?
A prodigy would be like someone who knows how to pick up something without much effort.
Yep. So we can kind of say like genius, right?
Yeah.
So so author is saying Picasso wasn't born a genius, right? He was very skilled, but he wasn't a genius when he was born. But he turned into one
Yeah.
over the course of his life, right? So, okay, what can we say for this paragraph?
For this paragraph, let's see, works preserved, charming knife. Picasso wasn't a boy. I guess kind of more. I guess this is more on author's opinion. This from after the however. I think that kind of sets the tone for this paragraph. Um, Picasso isn't a genius, isn't a born genius, but becomes genius. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you just see the things that I highlight, like that can kind of help you as like making like a pseudo map. So I wrote like or highlighted like works preserved, academic, and also I don't like I people like to highlight like entire sentences and stuff, but I like to really just highlight like one word or two words.
okay.
And then when you say it out loud, it's like I call it like caveman speech because it's just words. But in your head, like as you do this, it'll make sense to you. So like I highlighted works preserved, academic, not this charming knife type of thing. So that tells me that the works that his author, the works that his parents saved from when he was 9, um, uh, provide support that he painted like an academic and not as like a child, right?
Right.
And then we have the however, we don't have information, before that. So yeah, we just don't have information before that. And then the author telling us that he's, skilled but not a genius as a child, but becomes one. So in the map, I would write old works show academic, no works before that, AO author's opinion, skilled in parentheses, not genius as a kid, but becomes one as an adult.
Right.
Right? Okay. So now take a screenshot of like, the passage. So with all the highlights and like, yeah, what we have in the map so far.
Gotta get this one. Where? No,
Yeah, yeah, you did it right.
did I?
Yeah, from here now you
Did,
just yeah.
did it what it did, it screenshotted my not my computer. So I have you actually on a second screen right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm just gonna do this instead. There we go.
Yeah, look at gaming computer.
Well, I used my old TV that I don't really use too much and just used
Okay,
it as the screen monitor.
got it, got it, got it.
Yeah.
So okay, cool. So okay, we can. So I'll get rid of these. So, and let's scroll down.
Very cool. Okay, so Apollinaire asserted that there were two kinds of artists: the unreflective virtuoso who relies on nature, and the cerebral structure who relies on understanding.
Okay,
So there's
yeah.
a person saying that there's two kinds of artists. There's one who is virtuoso and one who's cerebral structure.
Okay, so um, what can you tell me about the two?
But yeah, virtuoso sounds like you don't really need instruction. You just rely on imagination
Yep.
or not self-creativeness. And then cerebral structure would be more like, I need instructions. I need to know how to do this in order.
Yeah. So if we also look at the word unreflective compared to cerebral, right?
Right.
What can you tell me about that?
Unreflective versus cerebral. The unreflective virtuoso.
What is cerebral?
Cerebral, like the brain.
Mhm.
Um,
So, yeah.
so I guess if the brain is compartmentalized into sections, so
Huh?
someone is very organized.
Huh?
Uh,
Let's compare it to unreflective.
okay. And unreflective, let's see, would be
Are you thinking a lot?
at the moment trying to.
Oh, sorry. I mean, if you're unreflective,
Okay. You're
are
probably not thinking too often. It probably comes immediate.
yeah, right? What do they mean by relies on nature?
Uh, they probably are able to just naturally have it, or if not, they are able to look into nature and just
Uh-huh.
instant imagination happens.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Amadeus?
I have not seen the movie Amadeus.
Okay. Uh, well, okay. It's a
You
movie
could
about, what's up?
you could give me a synopsis of it.
Well, it's about Mozart,
Okay.
and um, I don't know if you know that much about Mozart, but he was like someone who would write like a brilliant piece, like straight from his brain onto the piece of paper, and it would not need any edits or anything like that. It's perfect the first time through. So, um, and yeah, the movie Amadeus kind of shows that. It kind of shows Mozart uh being Mozart. But
Okay.
but yeah. So okay, good. You can continue.
Yeah, gotcha. Let's see. Speaking of Mozart,
Yeah.
let's see. Mozart could serve as prototype for the first, Beethoven for the second.
All right, what do they mean here?
Mozart is the unreflective, and Beethoven is the cerebral structure.
Exactly. So and I put these in orange because these are examples.
Okay.
Because yeah, whenever so we want to identify arguments as well as who makes those arguments, as well as um if the arguments have support.
Right.
Because something that they like to ask is which of the following arguments did the author provide no support? Or they'll say which this new support will they'll give you like some fact and they'll be like, how would this affect
Yeah,
the
I
argument?
saw some of that today.
Yep, yep, yep. So
Okay.
okay, yeah. So that's the Mozart and the Beethoven and good. Okay. Mhm.
So, as a prodigy, Picasso optimized the second type, but said Apollinaire he was able to convert himself into the first.
Mm.
So this sentence is telling me that he started as like Beethoven, someone who needed understanding, and then learned to go into the unreflective, someone who doesn't just think about it, just happens.
Yep. Excellent.
Let's see. And continuing would be never has there been so fantastic a spectacle as the metamorphosis he underwent in becoming an artist of the first type. So so it looks like this was such a great thing that happened as he was transforming into the first unreflective Virtuoso artist he is.
Yeah, we could probably consider this to just be like, so
Sounds like an extra sentence.
yeah, we can consider, so like before that, as a prodigy, Picasso epitomized blah blah blah.
Yeah,
That was just mentioned, by the author here, but then we have a quote from Apollinaire, and so that we can just treat that quote as support for that statement.
got it.
Mhm.
Okay, let's see. Picasso himself sensed the paradox of this transformation when he complained to Gertrude Stein, "If I can draw as well as Raphael, I have at least the right to choose my way, and they should recognize that right. But no, they say no."
All right.
Uh, sounds like Picasso's speaking up for himself, letting people know if he can draw this well, then he should be able to choose the way he draws, and no
Perfect.
one else should be able to tell him otherwise. But other people continue to tell him no.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. What can we say here?
Yeah. So the paragraph 3, I would place it as Picasso. Um, what is the word I'm looking for? Um, Picasso is a learns to be unreflective, virtuoso, um, and stands up for his Raphael like drawings, I guess. But others still see him as like are opposing him in his opinion.
Hmm. So we could put, so oh yeah, RTA is a reference to authority. So I'm putting RTA Apollinaire, and then he says Picasso converted from CS, the cerebral structure in parentheses Beethoven, to
Mhm.
the unreflective virtuoso UV in parentheses Mozart. So basically, what I did was like kind of condense it instead of
Yeah,
saying like yeah, by putting in lots of like yeah parentheses and slashes and things like that. So yep.
all right, cool. So let's see. The portrait of Gertrude Stein, 1906, stands out as an indicator of this transformation. Picasso asked his subject to remain for over 80 sittings. Let's see.
Tell me about what they mean by this transformation.
Oh, did I skip a sentence?
Oh,
Oh, okay. Okay, never. Sorry. Yeah, I see. Okay. Portrait of Gertrude stands out as an indicator of this transformation. So it looks like this particular portrait was where we noticed him going from the second of, or like Beethoven to Mozart kind of thing. So from cerebral to UV.
mhm. Good.
Um,
Because of that word this, right?
yeah.
Okay, good, good.
Uh, let's see. Uh, then he went away for the summer, annihilated the recognizable facial features, and finished the portrait away from Stein, substituting mask-like features for realistic ones.
What does that
What's that?
what does that mean?
So his way of drawing has just changed from something that is like very robotic to something that's more
What do you mean?
alive.
What do you mean when you say robotic?
Well, like kind of like well, when you're drawing like you're comparing like stick figures to something that like that you're now a little more advanced in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what there it sounds like that like this is where he when he went away, he learned that he was able to I guess paint again. Well, like earlier in the passage we saw that he had to relearn how to draw like Raphael, so he's now getting back into touch with that.
You say relearn how to draw like Raphael?
Or relearn how to draw to that level of Raphael.
Uh, let's be careful, right? Because what did we say that Raphael was connected to? Like, which words?
Oh, right. Raphael was connected to being academic.
Yeah.
Right.
And then is academic childlike?
It's not. No, it's not. So okay. So yeah, right. Okay, so I guess he's learning how to go um away from academic in a sense.
So what I highlighted here, substituting mask-like features for realistic ones. What is that?
Right. Um let's see. Let me read the sentence again. Maybe I'll get something. Then he went away for summer, analyzed the recognizable facial features, and finished the portrait away from sign, substituting mask-like features for realistic ones. He it honestly just sounds straightforward to me. He's like he's has one thing and just changed it up really quickly.
What is he changing? Like what's the
Just the facial the features themselves,
uh-huh.
the face-like features, I guess, from what the previous part says here, facial features.
Is he taking something realistic and turning it into mask-like, or is he taking something mask-like and turning it into realistic?
Yeah, something that's mask-like for real ones.
So he's replacing what again? Like,
Yeah, he's replacing mask-like features for real ones.
uh-huh. So does that mean that he's going from, this to
Oh,
this?
I see what you're saying. You're going from real to yeah, it's this way. So I guess I from realistic ones to mask-like ones.
Yeah. Yeah, the wordings could a little confusing here because you could have like substituting blah 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 for blah blah blah. Like it's kind of weird. You don't know which one you're substituting, but what we started with is realistic, and we're making it mask like, right?
Right.
So
Um,
yeah.
okay, and then just finishing off here, we have chastised because the portrait did not look like Stein. Picasso reportedly responded with one of the notable artistic one-liners of the century. Don't worry, it will.
Okay.
He in this one finished the portrait, didn't look like uh, Gertrude Stein, and let people know or others know that it may not look it like now, but it will soon.
Hmm.
See for paragraph 5, I believe.
Yeah, that sentence, the substituting mask-like features for realistic ones. Um, I personally think that that's kind of confusing because but the difference would be if it was substituting mask-like features with realistic ones, then it would be the other way around, I think, right? But
Yeah,
but okay, good. So we can say that, let's see.
caveman talk. Portrait of Gertrude Stein. Transformation.
Hmm.
Substitute mask-like features for realistic ones.
So I put an arrow to the above
Okay.
to refer to that transformation, and then I'm using an example PGS portrait of Gertrude Stein, and that involved him replacing the realistic ones with mask-like features, right?
Right.
Okay. So okay, now that what we do is we're going to look through like our map, which is the thing on the bottom right, and we're going to look for arguments that appear uh more than once. If an argument appears more than once, that's classified as a main idea,
Right.
right? So if we look at um the map, right? We see, okay, paragraph 1, Picasso's, oh yeah, you could do that. Yep.
Where move the thing out the way. Okay, cool.
So so like okay, so if we go over the map, we can say, okay, paragraph 1, Picasso's young works show signs of later genius. Paragraph 2, Picasso disagrees with this standard story of effortless genius, and that he drew academic like Raphael, as a child, but had to learn to draw as a child. So we're disagreeing with paragraph 1 here. So then paragraph 3, the old works of Picasso show that he was academic. We don't have any works before that, but the author believes that he, was not skilled but turned into,
Right.
or sorry, was skilled, not a genius, but turned into a genius. And that kind of sounds like what Picasso said about himself in paragraph 2.
Yeah.
So I will highlight that. Okay, well, that's so I will like circle that and that. And then we have paragraph 4. Apollinaire talks about how he converted himself from one to the other. And that's another one of the same idea, right? That he transformed himself, right? And then paragraph 5 also talks about transformation. So all the paragraphs except the first paragraph are talking about essentially the same thing, right? So what could our main idea be?
Main idea. He wasn't genius, but worked his way to be one.
So I wrote main idea. He went from academic cerebral structure to childlike unreflective virtuoso through effort.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, how do you feel about that?
That's good.
All right. So let's try. Are you ready for the questions?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna do this, and I'm also going to, well, actually, so okay, let's try this question.
According to the author, Picasso's artistic achievements were in large part the result of his.
Okay, so for question stems, we you want to try to put it in your own words as well, just to, or rephrase it just to make sure you understand what they're asking. But this one is a little bit more straightforward. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna start from A, and we're going to either keep A or like get rid of A or eliminate A. And then we can move on to B. So,
Mhm.
and also you'll see that if you also have the right reasons to eliminate something, that's important too, because if you eliminate something for the wrong reasons, then it's kind of like just by chance. So what do you think about choice A?
Yeah, let's see, retention of the effortless genius of childhood. Let's see. I don't think that would be something we'd keep, um, because he had forgotten it and had to work back to it.
Exactly, right? we um okay, so the effortless genius part, that indicates that uh he didn't have to put in any effort to get really big.
Yeah.
But there's also the word retention, which is showing us that he's just keeping what he was able to do as a child. But we know that, first of all, it's not effortless what he did.
Yeah, because our main idea says he did it through effort.
Yeah. Like I put that in like kind of because I was trying to um
Right.
but yeah. So effortless, no. Retention, no. Right? And this is wrong for the reason of contradiction. It's directly contradicted um by the passage information.
Right.
All right, B.
Okay, rejection of the art movements of his time. Let's see. Picasso's artistic achievements are in large part the result of his. Well, his art movements weren't rejected. The only person rejecting them was himself. Um,
So Picasso never mentioned anything about rejecting the art movements of his time, right?
yeah, he was really happy about them. If anything, he always placed children. Like I think in the second paragraph, they were mentioning something about um exalting like children's work and productivity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
I think what they mean like by art movement would be like cubism, like expressionism, stuff like that. But yeah, we never mentioned, like, the only art movement we mentioned was cubism, and that was something that he made. So this is wrong for out of scope. It was never mentioned.
okay. Let's see. Practice of making multiple revisions and amendments. Let's see. That I think we can keep. It looks like I know in the last paragraph we talked about him going over this metamorphosis and transformation from Beethoven to Mozart,
Hmm.
uh, as well as in the Gertrude Stein one.
Okay.
Uh, let's see. Learning to work with apparent spontaneity. Um, I don't think. I think the answer choice I would have chosen here would be C. Um,
But tell me why you would eliminate D.
yeah, so I'd eliminate D is because um he already had something and he was like he wasn't a genius per se, but he was like a born genius, but he was very skillful. So it's not like he just magically just randomly picked up something and said, I'm going to randomly work on this.
So let's think about the difference between. So what does the word spontaneity mean to you?
Instantly.
Anything else?
Um,
Would it be closer to academic or Todd-like?
this would be closer to I would probably academic. Um, no, spontaneity instantly childlike because childlike was unreflective. When we talked about it, it was regarding something that you just kind of already know. And we coupled that with nature.
Mhm. So now what do you think?
Okay, so now learning to work with apparent spontaneity. Um, maybe my answer choices probably have changed now to D because of knowing that he did that go through that, and it tells you at the end that he went from cerebral structure to unreflective by learning it through effort. Like
Exactly, right?
also
So
our main idea.
yeah. So, okay. Let's see. A couple of things. So So they're banking on you, like, being between, let's say, C and D, let's say. But and they're trying to like kind of trick you because we see here that, 80 sittings, right? And you know, finish the portrait away. So that sounds like he's making these revisions, right? Um, but that's just there to confuse you because what we're being asked is what is the reason that Picasso's so, famous? And the reason that he's so famous is because he went from that one type to the other type. And
Okay.
I block out the oh, whoops the all right, the passage because most of the time you won't have the same words being used, so that's why I also have you like put things into your own words. So yeah, the spontaneity part is like how a child would paint something, right? And then the learning part is showing that it took effort, right?
Right.
So yeah, yeah, D would be um a better answer. I can also say that so since main idea is defined as something that appears in more than one paragraph, um the opposite, so like, and that means you could have main idea questions. The opposite is a structure question, which is something that's where the answer will only be in one paragraph. So this question here is a main idea question, um, and which means that the answer should be in more than one paragraph, but C is only in that last paragraph. Like, and it would,
Okay. I see what you're saying.
yeah. So we can cross that out for localization. So, yep. All right.
Okay. The word nature is used in the sense of uh, objects and scenes of the natural world. Okay, this is something we did talk about as well. So that's not, I guess, the context that we wanted to use. So
Mhm.
I would go ahead and I'd keep it, but I'd go ahead and cross it out because I know that's not the answer because we talked about it together during the thing.
Yeah, and
Um,
you can see how it's a trap answer, right?
yeah.
Like, so people, yeah, okay, good.
Elementary aesthetic principles. That one is closer to what unreflective would be, or UV, or the nature. But what I was gonna go for was so I guess the reason I'd probably keep this one for now is just because it's related to uh well, no, I think I'd take that one out actually. Yeah, I wouldn't keep that one. Um, because it's uh you're thinking about how a person in elementary would be in their principles versus a master of academic, or not, I'm sorry, not academic, but it's not on the same level that the protege was during that time.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a class that you would take in art school, right?
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
elementary aesthetic principles.
yep. Intuitive artistic mastery. Um, I now we're down between C and D again. So intuitive artistic mastery, I don't think so. Uncontrolled creative impulses.
Well, tell me more about why you don't think so.
Intuitive and artistic mastery. It's like you have an intuition of something that, so it's like it doesn't come to you naturally. If not, like you have to think about it a little bit and then you'll do it. Versus,
Wait,
un-
intuition?
or it's like you just kind of know. Or I guess maybe actually, I see what you're saying. I see where you're leading me. Yeah. So yeah, then C would be the right answer, because if you just kind of do it, then it's kind of like the unreflective bistro of, and that would be the comparison to the nature that we talked about earlier.
What about
Um,
D?
D, uncontrolled creative impulses. Um, there's not something in there that I would have related to uncontrolled,
Mm-hmm.
so I wouldn't really have it in mind.
Mm-hmm. Good. So your answer?
Answer C.
Yep.
Confirm. What is the author's response to the standard story about the origin of Picasso's genius? Okay, so this is asking for the author's response regarding the standard story. Okay, so this is regarding the author's that was in paragraph 2 or 3, I believe, where it says my opinion. So we are going, he didn't accept it, so I know that one, that's not going to be something that would be it. So Picasso's early drawings are described as unusually skilled and his progress is spectacular. Well, that does sound actually exactly what he said. Neutral, but we got to go so I'll keep A, because I believe this is exactly what he said on Picasso's early genius, or like his drawings. He was skilled, but not a genius, and later became a genius through progress.
So, okay, continue.
Neutral, it is mentioned only to introduce the discussion of Picasso's eventual virtuosity. Let's see. Revisionist. Oh, sorry. So if we keep our take this one off. So what is the question? So author's response to standard story. What is the standard story? Standard story says that he's a genius. Let's see. It is mentioned only to introduce a discussion of the Picasso's eventual virtuosity. I don't think it's neutral, because this is something that's in between. There's no neutrality in here, at least in part of the paragraph, so I wouldn't go with that one.
So, what would you say the what would you so the author here? I'll just remove that for now. Like
Yeah.
for this. Oh, and yeah, this could also help sometimes. Like if you like what I do sometimes with students is I block out the answer choices, so you're forced to
Okay.
come up with your own. But what was the standard story?
Yeah, the standard story was he was a born genius.
All right. What did the author how yeah, what does the author think about that?
He wasn't a born genius.
Uh-huh.
He's just really skilled, and then later became a genius.
Uh-huh. And so this first answer choice has something right for that second part, right?
Yeah.
But that wouldn't be acceptance, right?
Yeah, that's what I was like. I was looking at, like,
Mm-hmm.
I would keep it for now, but because the second portion makes sense, but the acceptance
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. So I was gonna look through the first part to see, okay, what is contradictive of acceptance, and everything else wouldn't really make sense.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, you could do it that way. I mean, that's probably how I would do it too. Like I would see, okay, the second part's right, but let's see if we can see it if there's an answer that's better or not. But yeah.
Yeah.
And you said what did you say about B?
Oh, B, there's not really any talk about neutral response in between Picasso's work. I didn't hear anything about, it was just in between, or the author was in between answers. He was more on, he's not a genius. He's just skilled, later became genius. So that wouldn't be something I would keep. I'd definitely go ahead and take that one out.
So for that
Revisionist.
first, yeah, so for that first part, you disagree with the neutral thing. What about the second part?
Uh, that it's only mentioned to introduce the discussion of Picasso's eventual virtuosity. I don't think it's only mentioned to introduce it because later on in the story we talk about it again. Um, and the author later speaks on it again that doesn't agree with it.
Yeah, right. And it wouldn't really make sense to use the standard story to introduce Picasso's eventual virtuosity because the standard story says that he was always that type of, virtuoso.
Right.
But
Let's see.
yep.
So the revisionist, it is presented as applicable only to Picasso's earliest efforts. Let's see. Presented as an applicable. I don't think that this one makes too much sense to me. Because the standard, well, I mean, the standard story was given up to where he was, it says that he was a genius, a born genius, but this sounds like it's agreeing with that he was a born genius and that made him, or I'm not actually sure what C really means at this moment, but if anything, I would have read C and D to see which one I think I would agree with more. um, I don't think that's probably the strategies that you want me to try.
No. That's a strategy that I want you to try, yeah. Because yeah, it's sometimes it's in cars, most of the time the right answer isn't gonna feel right. It's just gonna be least wrong.
Right.
So you're doing fine.
Skepticism, Picasso's earliest drawings are presumed to be not especially precautious. D sounds the best to me.
Yep. Because the because A is pretty much perfect except for the acceptance part, right?
Yeah, and also skepticism tells me that um, the author already knows, like, okay, yeah, the standard story is this, but I'm not really 100% sure on that.
Yeah. So that's also a good way to talk about extreme words, like because well, we have acceptance, we have neutral, and then we could have like whatever, like disagreement or the opposite of acceptance or something like that. Uh,
Right.
rejection, I think, would be the opposite. Uh, but skepticism is more a little bit more neutral, and when things are a little bit well, I don't mean neutral like this, but it's not like 100% rejection. It's not 100% acceptance. It's like, I may not believe everything that, is being said about this standard story. So
Right.
skepticism is a good word here. And it also is consistent with what comes after, with his earliest works not being especially precocious. So,
Right.
yep.
That would be that. Um,
Yeah.
the assertion that Picasso's earliest productions contain harbingers of his later art is not clearly consistent with the information about, excuse me, assertion that Picasso's early productions contain harbingers that of his later art is not consistent with the information about. Okay, so this is something that I have definitely have to pay attention to.
Yeah. It could also work to use like your Alt H, like if you wanted to highlight it.
Uh, Alt H. I
Uh-huh.
think I'm assuming it's Command H on this.
Oh yeah. For Mac. I don't know what it would be.
So I'll just do that.
Oh, I think if you hover over that, it might tell you. I mean, like over the highlight button. Option
Option.
Option H. But it's already highlighted, so it's not going to unhighlight it, which is annoying. But you could hit. I think it's this eraser tool thing. Oh yeah. Remove the highlight. So you could,
Okay.
yeah. But
Let's see.
what you want, like, so like what I was trying to show is like if you um so like okay, like select this again and then hit that. Okay, so now let's try this. So like when you what like for a word you want to highlight, double click on it. So double click on that and then hit the option H.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got it.
So that's faster, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember when I was taking the test, like I would, well, can't really show that, but I would have like my uh left thumb on the alt button, which is for you would be option, and my index finger on the H, the highlight, and then I think like my pinky on the S to strike through. But that's like a really fast way of doing that stuff. And also like double clicking the word will select it instead of like dragging it across and stuff. But yeah, good. Good to be aware of the these not questions.
Okay. The assertion of Picasso's early productions contained harbingers of his later art. See, if I were to look at this, I know I would get like just stumped for sure. Like I wouldn't know where to go with this besides just read the entire answer choices.
Let's try this then. So
Okay.
so what who says that Picasso's early works contain, signs of his later genius?
His parents
Um
and everyone else.
well, you can take a look at the map.
Let's see.
Maybe better question would be who does not agree with that?
Oh, I guess the author doesn't agree with that.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Anyone else?
Picasso doesn't agree with that.
Anyone else?
Picasso, is it I believe Al something.
Mhm.
Yeah, Paul there. Um,
So so they're saying that this assertion is not consistent with like what? And things that could our answer could be would be like it's not consistent with what Picasso thinks. It's not consistent with what Apollinaire thinks. It's not consistent with what the author thinks.
right.
So
Okay.
we're essentially giving ourselves answers like whoops, like we're kind of saying that our answers could be like Picasso, it could be Apollinaire, it could be author, right?
Right.
And who would it not be like? Or sorry, who would? These are the ones who would not agree, but the ones that would be like um people who talked about like the standard story and stuff, right?
Right.
So for questions like this where you mentioned like it's hard to like kind of think about it, and then so you're pressured to just go into the choices. Doing it this way can kind of help you come up with some idea of what the answer is, and then when you look through the choices, you have something you're looking for, and that makes you less susceptible to the other. Yeah.
Give me 1 second. Just gotta get the cat out of here.
Oh yeah.
Toby.
Hmm.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. I got mine over here.
Oh, who's this?
Well, her name is official like Kayla, but I call her like Fluffy and things like that.
Oh, okay. Cute nicknames. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
These over here are tritium like necklaces. And
Okay.
you'll see tritium a lot on the MCAT as used to like radio label things, but like so it also like glows like this. So it glows really cool colors and stuff. So
Oh,
uh,
sweet. Okay.
yep. But yeah, that's cool that you have. Let's see if this can work. Nope, forget it.
I could YouTube it.
Yeah, so the okay.
Oh, yeah, I see it. Yeah, it definitely glows.
Yeah.
It's like bluish color right now when you did that.
Yep. I have in blue, I have many colors. Um, this is like the stuff that, well, they use for like fire, I mean, sorry, like exit signs and uh for some like guns and stuff, like a sight
Yeah.
on the gun, because the idea is that it's going to basically glow forever. Um, but yeah, I have it on my cat, like different colors.
That's so cool.
So let's see.
Let's see
Uh,
where we
mhm. So okay, yeah. So yeah, you want to be able to come up with your own answer so you have an idea of what to look for, and also it'll make you less susceptible to the wrong answer choices.
Right, right. Okay.
So let
So now that I know I have that on the side. Let's see who is it not clearly consistent with an information. The way Picasso described his first drawings. So the assertion that Picasso's early productions contain harbingers of his later art is not clearly consistent with information about the way Picasso described his first drawings. That one kind of sounds like one of our choices here.
Mhm.
Um, I can keep that. The distortions of form and scale in these works. Uh, it's not very specific, so
Uh-huh.
I would probably take that one out. The lack of drawings from his first 8 years. Let's see. That one we did talk about, but it's not in our answer choices. And that's actually well, that one was based off of something else. I can't remember where in the story at this moment. Playfulness of his graphic experimentation. Okay, so going from the top, let's see. The way Picasso described his first drawings, I think this is the best answer out of all of these probably. Because this is not uh, uh he himself says that it's not his first work was probably not something that was genius, not just childlike.
Mhm.
Um, so I think I would keep that. The distortions of form and scale. I'd X that one out. It's very vague. I don't get too much out of it. Um, the lack of drawings from his first 8 years. We don't have any of that, so we can't really speak on it. I think they said that you can't speak on it because we don't have it. The playfulness of his graphic experimentation. Um, I don't remember anywhere in the paragraph saying anything about him really being playful or in a
Uh-huh.
sense.
So
And
yep, go on.
yeah, like I didn't remember anything regarding him doing any experimentations as far as that. So I think that's what I would have gone with.
Yep, yep. So the question is essentially asking us like who or what would not be in agreement with the standard story, right?
Yeah.
Because the idea of this is like, let's say this is a painting of his when he was 9, and then let's say this is a painting of him that he made when he was 35, and
Yeah.
if it's saying that the early productions contain signs of his later works, like that is showing that is in other words that he's retaining his early genius, right?
Right.
But we know that what actually is the case is that he had to learn some other thing, like, or rather, he had to learn how to draw like a child, like say like a 5-year-old, but as like a 35-year-old or something.
Right. Right.
But yeah, so you want to rephrase the question, and oh, and then so some of these things, distortions of form and scale, that's in that first paragraph where they talked about all those that jargon,
Okay.
right? And then the lack of drawings from his first 8 years, as you said, we don't know what that is, so we can't say that it's consistent or not consistent. And then D, like, was mentioned in that first paragraph, but that is in the first paragraph that talks about the harbingers of his later work. So yeah, we want to choose. So yeah, we had yeah, so we're gonna choose that one. Yep.
Okay. Which of the following innovative forms of art that are identified with Picasso most clearly exemplifies his own implied goals?
So what would be something that you would a way that you would answer this?
Okay. Let's see. I would think about let's see, which of the following innovative forms of art.
What's Picasso's own?
I guess figure out like what Picasso has already created. So like the cubism part, that's I think that was one of them.
So
Uh,
so what is Picasso's own implied goals?
is to get back to a UV mindset.
Yeah, and tell me how. Like,
And that's through
like,
effort, I guess, of him relearning.
uh-huh. The UV thing, is that like, what's another word that we used for it?
Uh, oh, I mean, I remember we used spontaneity, but that was within one of the answer choices. Nature,
Yep, check out what we put in the main idea.
let's see, childlike.
Mm-hmm. So Picasso's goals are to be able to draw like a child, right?
Yeah.
So they're asking us which of the following types of art is closest to childlike,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so that's what we're going to look for, right?
Right. Right.
Okay.
What's that? Whatever's closest to childlike. Okay. So sculptures constructed of various surprising found objects. That's something I'd keep. That sounds pretty childlike to me.
Okay.
Um, Creating things out of objects you just find.
Okay.
Blue period paintings with muted colors and elongated figures. It seems a little more complex than what a child would probably make.
Yeah.
Uh, Plates decorated with boldly colored, simply indicated faces. Don't think that one's the right one either.
Why?
It sounds I guess it's just a little more complex as well. Boldly colored, simply indicated faces. Well, maybe. It's like a maybe one. But I don't think I would have chosen it.
Okay.
Um, Single tone paintings with hard edged multi-face perspectives. That one's very complex. So B and D both are ones I would take out. They don't sound childlike. Um, when I think of childlike, I think of something that's very simple to
So
construct very surprising found objects and making something out of it. So like blocks, and you're just making a building out of blocks.
you said two things there. You said simple,
Mhm.
and you said that C was a little complex, but C has the word simple in it, right?
Yeah.
So
So most likely probably see that.
like if you what would a kid be more likely to do? Make a sculpture of like found objects.
Or color. Probably color.
Yeah, boldly colored, right? Not
Yeah.
muted colors, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, muted would be like navy or maroon, right? And
Right.
boldly colored would be like bright red and stuff. But yeah, the simply part, right? So like blue period paintings with muted colors, like elongated features, kids aren't gonna know what that stuff means. So you're right to get rid of that. And then single tone, hard edge, like, even I don't know what that stuff is, right? So a kid won't likely know that. So A and C are good to be what you're left with. But then it's just the idea of, sculptures constructed of various surprising found objects. Like, in order for a kid to do that, they need to know what found objects are. They need to know how to sculpt them together, and they need to know also, or they need to also use found objects that are surprising.
Yeah.
That's a lot for a kid to take in. But if you give a kid some, a paper plate or whatever, they'll probably draw, with marker some simple faces and stuff, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
So this one. Uh,
So yeah, you're good at breaking it down to 50-50, but then it's just a matter of oh, and then also like, because you know how I say like to have like a reason for something being wrong. So
yeah.
so far, like in the questions that you like chose something that was, or eliminated something that was right, was without giving like an answer, like you kind of just were like no. So uh so yeah, that's what I would say about that. But yeah, let's try this one.
Which passage information provides the strongest reason to suppose that Picasso had always been an artist of Apollinaire first type? I think it's Apollinaire. Okay, so Apollinaire. What did we say about him? He said that he converted from CS to UV. So which passage that would be? I think later down in the passage, like 4 or 5. Yeah, 4, I think. And we'll go down and see Picasso equipped. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. Thanks for doing that.
What
Trying
is
to get
this?
it
Yeah, what is the question asking?
out. Which paragraph has the strongest reason? Uh, or what sentence has the strongest reason? For Picasso to be that same artist as Apollinaire. And I think Apollinaire was like a CS type.
Well, Apollinaire was just the guy who said there's two types of artists.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So this is telling me that where in this passage do I see um him being this first type of artist?
mhm.
Uh, and that was early when he was academic,
the
actually.
the the first type was which one? The
The C the Oh no, unreflective.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, unreflective. So the first time he was like that was when he was a child.
So far in the passage, we're saying that he started out as Apollinaire's second type, right?
Yeah.
And then turned into the first.
And then yeah, he went 2-1-2.
Mhm. So now the question here is asking about something like, is asking like, what if is there any support to that says that Picasso, instead of being the second type turning into the first type, was always the first type,
Yeah.
right? So it's asking us for something in the passage that goes against the main idea. right? Because the main idea is that he goes from the second type to the first.
Right.
So we just need to find something in the passage that says that shows that he has always been that first type. Okay.
Okay.
So let's see.
Let's see. What says he's the first type? Picasso quipped that as a child he could draw as well as Raphael. Let's see. That sounds pretty good. I like that one. Picasso's early drawings indicate exuberant experimentation. That sounds a little more childlike, I guess.
Okay.
Picasso wrote that in his youth he painted in a quite academic way. Okay, so I know. So I guess academic is more like not childlike. So A and C maybe not the ones to go with.
Yeah. How did you make that connection with A and C?
Oh, okay. So, well, I remember when we were talking about it, we were like, okay, what is academic like? And when I'm thinking academic, it's very structured. So I was like, okay, then if Raphael is academic, and then they're saying that he is academic here as well, then that's not where we want him to go. We were looking for more childlike, unreflective.
Yeah, like a lot of times you could even make like a little kind of, I mean, like, don't do it on the test, but like something like this, like let's say like Apollinaire's first type, unreflective, virtuoso, Mozart. And then I could also add childlike. I could add um um the I'll leave it like that for now. And then for the other one, Apo second type, um, cerebral structurer, Beethoven, um, academic, and like Raphael. So
Yeah.
this way we get to really just put all these words in two different categories, right? Uh, so yeah, if we could even add like, spontaneity, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's see. If I've crossed A and C out, that leaves me with B and D.
So
Uh,
you equated, Raphael with academic, right?
yep.
So that's good that you did that.
Awesome, awesome. Let's see. D. Picasso revised his portrait of Gertrude Stein from memory. Um, I don't know or think that that sounds very childlike for someone to memorize an
Yeah.
entire portrait.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I wouldn't go with that either. So I think the correct answer is B because it tells you that his earliest drawings, which were childlike.
Hmm. Yep.
So that's what I would do.
Yeah.
We're good to go.
Hmm.
Alrighty. So the author's characterization of Picasso's artistic aims suggests that the retort, "Don't worry, it will," meant that the painting. Okay, so the author's characterization of Picasso's artistic aims. So we have to deal with the author regarding Picasso's artistic aims, which he was aiming to be childlike. Toward, don't worry, it will meant that the painting. Let's see. I don't want to look at the answer choices because that way I can at least come up with the answer myself. So let's see. If we are saying that the author's characterization of Picasso's work, oh, thank you.
Hmm.
um, Work is to be more childlike, and they were like, well, it doesn't look like him, don't worry, it will, meant that the painting was probably too academic at the time.
What is this? Where like this? Don't worry, it will painting
Yeah,
thing.
Don't Worry, Will was in the last part of the thing where he finally became more childlike.
Mhm.
So he probably is now more childlike and is going to be able to finish it to make it look more like this Gertrude person.
To make it look like wait
Or or
to yeah.
closer to the aim of childlike.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm probably gonna look for something in this that says um the efforts of working into, I guess, this childlike
Yeah.
will be.
So for this one, I think uh it'll be pretty hard to answer it without the choices. Um,
Okay.
so let's see how we can do with the choices.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. A is was intended to portray Stein as she probably looked in old age. Um, Not something that I think goes with it doesn't speak about age, and we don't really know how old Stein is, so it's like extra information that I wouldn't be able to use.
Mhm.
Um, would become a more accurate portrait as Picasso continued to work on it. I like that one. I might keep that. I'll probably keep that one for now.
But tell me why.
Yeah. So during that paragraph, we learned that he left because he was learning to be more or he's still learning how to be more childlike, so maybe not at that moment, but he's still learning, and as he's learning he's going to continue something
So
because he left for the summer to finish off that portrait.
so when he finished off that portrait, what did he do?
He substituted the um mask like for realistic one
So he
faces.
got rid of the realistic one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So does that mean that it would be more accurate?
No, it was not more accurate. It's less accurate because now he placed it for mask like ones.
Mhm. So
Okay.
it would not be more accurate, right? So we can get rid of that.
Okay. Was concerned with pictorial qualities other than a literally accurate likeness. Was concerned with pictorial qualities other than literally accurate likeness. I don't know actually how I feel about that one yet at all. So I don't think I would. Um, it
Okay.
wouldn't be my immediate answer. Was an attempt to teach viewers to look at portraits in more analytical way. No, he was not trying to teach people how to do it analytical way. Um, and out of all these three, given that I know A didn't give me so much information on Stein's age, so I can't base it off on how they looked, if not the information that was already given to me, which age is not something they gave me. I think C would be the best answer out of process of elimination.
Yep.
Uh,
So this could be an example of the right answer being the one that's least wrong. But also, I would say that for main idea questions, like most of them are, um, when in doubt, choose whatever is closest to your main idea.
okay.
And so we know that our main idea is that what's it? Is that Picasso like is moving away from that academic like realistic. Oh yeah, could have added that as well here. Realistic, right? Mask like here.
Mhm.
So so he's not, and then realistic I could also say accurate. So he's not concerned with that realistic accurate likeness of the person that he's drawing. He's concerned with other pictorial qualities.
Right.
So um yeah. So
Okay,
that would
cool.
be BC.
Let's see.
Uh-huh. And yeah, that's it for for that passage. So yeah, how do you feel about like yeah, how do you feel about how we went over that?
Oh wow, we already finished it. That's
Mhm.
cool. Um, I felt like as long as if I do the same thing we do with the next couple passages
Yep.
and I just keep practicing it, it'll come more naturally. Um, I know time wise we use 2 hours for this. Um, when we're trying to do this in 15 minutes. So I think the best thing is I'll keep practicing it. I definitely liked that you were putting the you're covering the answer choices,
Yep.
making me think more about it. Okay, you know what? Remember what is the main idea of this passage, and you know we use our little notes that we had per paragraph,
Uh-huh.
and that helps us eliminate answers, and also using uh, giving a reason why we don't need an answer is definitely something that definitely helped us in this as well.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. So I would say that what was it? Forgot what I was gonna say, but um tell me more about what you were saying.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I was just saying, like, I think it's great. I definitely learned like how to eliminate answers,
Mhm.
why I should eliminate answers. Um, Overall, I think highlighting is like one of the biggest things I've had a problem with before, where I would highlight a lot of things, and then next thing you know, the entire thing's highlighted, and you don't really know what the main idea is.
Yeah.
So having those like caveman like words
Yeah. Yeah.
um definitely helped. And I know when whoever sees this recording, they're gonna be like, man, this guy definitely dumb.
Oh no,
But
they're not. They're not gonna.
uh,
Uh,
but
but
I definitely I really like that I was able to, okay, I'm learning how you're doing this. That way I can learn how to do it too. And now the next time maybe we go over a cars passage again, it'll be slightly quicker and then it'll be more of my end. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing, and then you can correct me in certain areas.
yeah. So I think I remember what I was saying. I was wanted to say, but um, like two things. So like the first thing that so what I notice students usually do with cars is they kind of zoom through the passage and then they read the question way too quickly without comprehending what the question's asking for. And then they play mix and match, like they look for words in the choices that are repeated or mentioned in the in the past. Sorry. They use words that are in the answer choices and they mix and match with words that are in the passage. And a lot of times that's what they do. So blocking out the passage is something that I do to prevent that kind of frantic, because also what they're going to do is like frantically search through the passage for something that will help you find an answer to a question, but you don't want to reread like that. You want to read it, like the saying measure twice, cut once.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do. Like you don't want to like half-ass like reading the passage and then going to the questions and then having to reread it, right? Because that you're just losing time that way. Uh, but you want to like kind of take your time reading it the first time because that first time is going to be the last time that you're going to read it.
Okay.
So yeah, so there's a lot that we covered today, and yeah, you'll see the recording, so it'll be easier for you to like take notes and stuff about the things we talked about. But oh, and then to address what you said about like on the test, like how are you going to do this? But that's going to be like months from now, right? Uh so you're going to be doing a ton of this type of practice yourself. So there's also the saying slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Have you ever heard of that saying? Like
Oh, I have been.
so it's like
Slow is
yeah, it's like whenever you start to learn something, like let's say riding a bike or something, or I don't know, something, right? To learn
okay.
like mechanical movements and stuff of your hands or your legs and your feet, you have to consciously think about it, right? But the more you practice that, it becomes internalized and in your muscle memory. So uh so that means that when you're learning something for the first time, you do it slowly. And if you can do it slowly, that can turn into doing it smoothly. And the more smooth you can do it, the faster you can get. So, so basically I'm going to have you continue doing passages like this. And try from the screenshots that you took, like try to see how you can replicate that type of map. Because but at the end of the passage, like what you're going to, if you need to look back, you're going to look back at the map. But the map is going to be there to help you, identify the arguments, who says the arguments, and then which arguments are repeated more than once, which gives you the main idea. Once you get the main idea, you're pretty much in a great position to answer, the questions. But there's also lots of tricky types of questions, and the language is very, very nuanced. But yeah, you'll get a ton of practice. So I would say continue doing these passages, write out the maps like we did today, and when we meet next, if you want to go over like a cars passage that you did that you have questions on, we can do that and we can compare maps. Or we can do a completely new one.
That'd be cool.
We
Compare
can,
maps. Yeah, I like that idea.
okay, let's do that. And you know, oh, and then for the sciences, like do the section bank, but like, complete the Jack Westin content diagnostics first, which shouldn't take you long, but then you're going to start for the sciences, the AMC section bank, which is, which you already have purchased.
Yep.
So that'll be like the science stuff to do. And then, yeah. Oh, and then, yeah, you can get those Altius tests, and that'll be something that you do like, I don't have the calendar. Oh, yeah. So let's see.
I got you.
Yep.
We
Got
are.
it. So yeah. And for these days, like, if you did the thing, like you put a strike through, right?
Yeah, I got to go back in there and actually go through it. And I'll do that today. Probably in an hour to rest my brain from.
Yeah. So okay. So basically, yeah. So so continue. So finish that Jack Weston content diagnostic. Start the AMC section bank, and do AMC cars. Like do like a couple of passages a day or something like that. Whatever works for you, because you're also going to be doing like the science stuff. So either you can do like some science work, some cars work on the same day, or some science work on one day, some cars work on the other day. But yeah, you have a lot of resources at your disposal, and we're going to be taking a ton of practice tests. So that speed thing is doing what we just did in 15 minutes or less. Like, it's you'll get to that point from doing all this stuff, especially doing all the full lengths and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that is all I got today.
Yep.
So, how much do I owe you, Shane?
Uh, let's see. So, when do you want to meet next?
Yeah, our next meeting, let's see, what is today's date? The 5th, 4th? I would say let's set up for next week on, let's see. How do you feel about next week on Thursday or Friday?
I have availability Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do it next week on Friday.
Okay. All right, I put you in for Friday, May 10th at 6 p.m. Eastern, and let's see for the